The night was colder than it should have been for early spring. Sam Harlan sat by the dying fire, his coat pulled tight around him, while his son Noah slept wrapped in an old blanket beside the van. The forest whispered in slow, uneven breaths, branches shifting, owls calling to no one in particular. Sam rubbed his hands, staring into the embers. He hadn't slept properly in weeks. Every time his eyes closed, he saw her, Emily's face, pale and calm, the way she looked the day the hospital lights faded. Now it was just him, the boy, and an endless stretch of road. Noah stirred, mumbling something in his sleep. Sam smiled faintly, brushing a lock of hair from the boy's forehead. "It's okay, bud," he whispered. "We'll find a place soon." The words sounded practiced, like a line he'd said too many times. The truth was, he didn't know where they were heading anymore. The shelters were full. The jobs had dried up. Most days, they survived on gas station sandwiches and the kindness of strangers. He tried not to think about the future, it was too heavy. Instead, he focused on keeping the boy warm, fed, and hopeful. Hope was the only currency left. Morning came soft and gray. Dew clung to the windshield, and mist hovered low over the road. Sam brewed instant coffee over the tiny fire and poured some into a cracked mug. He handed it to Noah, who yawned wide and took a sip, grimacing. "Tastes like mud," he said. Sam chuckled. "That's because it's the good stuff." They packed up and drove toward town, the van sputtering like an old man clearing his throat. As they reached the outskirts, a mailbox caught Sam's eye, rusted, half buried, but still standing. A single envelope rested inside, his name scrawled across it in careful, old-fashioned handwriting. He froze. No one had written his name in years. The return address was printed neatly. Law offices of Crane and Wilder, Denver, CO. He opened it slowly. Inside was a letter, folded twice, and a key attached to a faded ribbon. "Dear Mr. Harlan, we regret to inform you of the passing of your grandfather, Mr. Elias Harlan. As his sole living heir, you are entitled to the estate located at Ridge Hollow within the Ironcliff Mountains. Please find enclosed the key and map to the property." At the bottom, in uneven handwriting, were 5 simple words. "The mountain remembers its own." Sam read the line again and again. He barely remembered his grandfather, a quiet man who lived somewhere far away in the mountains, visited once when Sam was a boy. His father never spoke about him much, only muttering that Elias built his world out of stone and ghosts. Now that ghost had left him a house, or maybe a ruin. Either way, it was more than he had. Noah peered over his shoulder. "What's that?" he asked. "It's from family," Sam said softly. "Looks like Grandpa Elias left us something." The boy's eyes widened. "A house?" "Maybe," Sam replied. "Maybe a new start." The road to Ridge Hollow wound higher with each mile. The van groaned under the climb, and the pines grew thicker, their branches heavy with dew. Sam followed the hand-drawn map, its ink faded by time. There were no road signs now, just old logging trails that twisted like veins through the forest. Noah pressed his face against the window, watching the fog roll between the trees. "Feels like we're driving into the clouds," he whispered. Sam smiled. "Maybe we are." For the first time in months, he felt something flicker inside him. Not fear, not doubt, but the faintest spark of belonging. By late afternoon, the dirt road ended at a wall of rock. Sam killed the engine. Before them rose a narrow path carved into the stone, winding upward like a scar. A sign, barely legible, read, "Private property, Ridge Hollow Estate." Beyond it, the cliffs loomed gray and immense, their faces streaked with age. "You think there's really a house up there?" Noah asked, slinging his small backpack over his shoulder. "Only one way to find out," Sam replied, pocketing the key. They began to climb, boots scraping against the damp stone. The air grew colder, sharper, like breathing the past itself. The trail ended at a ridge where the world suddenly opened wide. Below them, the forest stretched in waves of green and silver, fading into mist, and there, half built into the cliffside, stood a castle. Its towers rose from the rock as though carved by the mountain's own hand, gray stone, weathered iron, and windows that reflected the last gold of sunset. Noah's mouth fell open. "Dad," he whispered, "it's huge." Sam couldn't speak. The place looked both magnificent and broken, its gate covered in vines, its roof crumbling at the edges. Still, it was shelter. It was theirs. They crossed a bridge leading to the main door, the boards creaking beneath their steps. The air smelled of wet stone and pine. Sam fit the old key into the lock it resisted at first, then turned with a deep, echoing click. The heavy door groaned open, sending a breath of cool, stale air rolling out. Inside was darkness, thick and patient. Noah hesitated. "Are we allowed to go in?" Sam smiled faintly. "I think we're more than allowed." They stepped across the threshold. The door closed behind them with a sound that felt less like wood and more like history remembering itself. The entrance hall was vast and silent. Moonlight spilled through tall windows, painting the floor in silver. Cobwebs hung like veils from chandeliers that hadn't seen light in decades. Dust swirled with every step. "Dad, this place is like a castle," Noah whispered. "Maybe it is one," Sam said, his voice hushed. Against the far wall stood portraits, stern faces of men and women dressed in another century. One looked strikingly familiar, a tall man with deep eyes standing before the same mountains outside. Elias Harlan. Beneath the portrait, a plaque read, "The mountain keeps what it's owed." Sam shivered. They set up camp near the fireplace in the main hall. The air was cold, but not unfriendly. Sam found dry wood stacked neatly in an old crate, as if someone had left it waiting. He lit a fire, and the warmth spread quickly, chasing the shadows to the corners of the room. Noah sat close, roasting a piece of bread on a stick. "Do you think Grandpa built this by himself?" he asked. Sam shook his head. "No one builds something like this alone." He looked around the arches, the carvings, the symmetry. This house was made for a reason. Later, when Noah fell asleep, Sam walked the halls with a lantern. The house was larger than it looked, from outside corridors twisted deep into the rock. Stairways led both up and down. Every step echoed softly, as if the walls were listening. He found a library filled with dust-covered books, their spines brittle and faded. On one shelf, a small wooden box caught his eye. Inside was a folded note in the same careful handwriting as the letter. "If you are reading this, then you've come home. The mountain holds more than memories. Listen before you change it. E.H." Sam read it twice, unsure what to feel. Listen before you change it. The words clung to him like mist. He pocketed the note and turned back toward the firelight. As he walked, the wind shifted outside, moaning softly through cracks in the stone. It almost sounded like a voice. He paused, listening. Nothing but the whisper of air. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that the castle was aware of them, not hostile, not welcoming either. just awake after a long sleep. "It's just the wind," he muttered. But even as he said it, he wasn't sure he believed himself. Morning brought sunlight through broken stained glass, scattering colors across the floor. Noah ran through the hallways, laughter echoing like a promise. "Dad, come see," he called from upstairs. Sam followed, his boots kicking up clouds of dust. At the end of the corridor stood a tall door carved with strange symbols, mountains, waves, and a single eye at the center. Noah traced the carvings with his finger. "It's warm," he said. Sam touched the wood. It was true. The surface pulsed faintly beneath his palm, as though something beneath was breathing. "Let's leave that for later," he said quietly. They spent the next hours cleaning the main hall, sweeping decades of dust from the stone floor. Sam repaired a cracked window using boards from an old crate, while Noah stacked firewood like a miniature architect. Every corner revealed traces of the past, old photographs, broken tools, books with pressed flowers between the pages. Near one window, Sam found a metal plate etched with words half-faded by rust. Ridge Hollow Observatory. The term struck him oddly. This wasn't just a home, it was built for watching, studying, keeping secrets. "Observatory," he murmured. "Grandpa, what were you watching?" That night, they cooked canned beans over the fireplace and shared a quiet meal. The fire painted their faces in gold and orange. Noah leaned against his father's arm. "Do you think Mom would like it here?" he asked softly. Sam swallowed hard. "Yeah, kid," he said. "I think she would have loved it." They sat in silence, the kind that didn't hurt anymore, only held memories gently. Outside, snow began to fall slow, soundless flakes drifting past the windows. The castle seemed to exhale, its long-held breath turning warm again. For the first time in years, Sam felt safe. After Noah fell asleep, Sam stepped outside. The snow glowed faintly under the moon, and the valley stretched below like an ocean of white. From up here, the world felt smaller, kinder. He looked up at the tower rising above him, its top lost in mist. He'd noticed earlier that the steps leading there were sealed by an iron gate, locked from within. "Why hide a room?" he whispered. A sudden gust of wind swept through the courtyard, carrying with it a sound faint but distinct. A knock, once, then twice. He turned sharply toward the tower. Nothing moved. When he returned inside, the fire had nearly died. He stirred the embers and sat down, staring into the flames. His thoughts drifted to the past, to Emily's laughter, to the years before everything fell apart. "You'd laugh at me," he said softly, "chasing ghosts in mountains." But deep down, he felt she would have understood. She had always believed in signs, in the quiet logic of fate. As the last spark faded, Sam lay beside his son and closed his eyes. Somewhere deep within the walls, a faint hum began low and steady, like the beating of a heart under stone. The hum continued into the morning. Sam woke to find the castle warmer than before. Sunlight spilled through the stained glass, scattering gold across the walls. Noah was drawing by the fire, sketching the towers with remarkable precision. "That's good," Sam said, ruffling his hair. "You've got your mom's eye." Noah grinned. "I saw it in my dream. Grandpa showed me." Sam froze. "What do you mean?" He said, "The tower isn't locked. It's waiting." The boy spoke it so casually, like naming the weather. Sam forced a smile, but a chill ran through him. "Dreams are tricky things, kid." Later, while Noah napped, Sam wandered the corridors again, lantern in hand. He stopped before the sealed iron gate at the base of the tower. The air around it felt charged, alive. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the key that had come with the letter. It was old, heavy, carved with symbols matching the ones on the door. His pulse quickened. "Listen before you change it," his grandfather had written. Sam hesitated, the silence pressing in on him. Then, slowly, he slid the key into the lock. It turned with a deep, resonant click, like the mountain waking. The sound of the lock turning echoed through the hall like thunder trapped inside stone. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a groan that seemed to come from the mountain itself, the gate creaked open an inch. Cold air rushed out, smelling faintly of iron and rain. Sam stepped back, lantern trembling in his hand. Behind him, Noah appeared at the top of the stairs, rubbing his eyes. "Dad?" he asked, sleepily. "Don't come down," Sam said, too quickly. But curiosity had already brightened the boy's face. "Is it the tower?" he whispered. Sam nodded slowly. "Yeah, it's the tower." Together, they pushed the gate wider. The hinges screamed in protest. A spiral staircase wound upward into darkness, each step carved directly into the rock. Sam lifted the lantern, the flame stretching thin against the walls. "Stay close," he said. Noah followed without fear, his small feet barely making a sound. The air grew cooler as they climbed, heavy with the scent of dust and old oil. Every few steps, the hum Sam had heard before pulsed through the stone beneath them, steady and alive. "It's breathing," Noah murmured. Sam almost said no, but the truth was, it felt that way. At the top of the staircase, the passage opened into a circular chamber. The walls were lined with shelves of rusted instruments, compasses, glass tubes, broken clocks, things too strange to name. In the center stood a massive iron telescope pointed toward a shattered glass dome overhead. Snowflakes drifted in, melting against the metal. A single lantern burned weakly beside an open notebook on the table. Sam approached, his hand trembling. The ink was faded, but legible. Ridge Hollow Observatory. Journal of Elias Harlan, 1964. He turned the page and began to read. Noah leaned closer, eyes wide with wonder. "They said it was just a storm," the entry began. "But I know better. The mountain breathes when it remembers. It stores what the world forgets, voices, faces, even sins. The tower listens so that one day someone might hear." Sam's heart pounded. The handwriting was unmistakably the same as on the letter. "Grandpa built this," he whispered. "But why?" Noah pointed toward a wall covered in old photographs, grainy images of men in uniforms, tunnels carved into rock, and strange machines labeled with coordinates. "What's this, Dad?" "I don't know," Sam said softly, "but I think your great-grandfather was hiding something." They spent hours exploring the chamber. Behind the telescope, Sam found a lever and a panel of switches. When he pulled one, gears groaned beneath the floor, and a section of wall slid open to reveal a small brass machine still faintly humming after all these years. "Is it a radio?" Noah asked. "Maybe," Sam replied. The machine looked alive, its wires pulsing with faint blue light. He touched the dial, and for a moment a whisper filled the air static shaped into words he couldn't quite understand. Then it stopped. "Dad," Noah said softly, "I think the house is talking." That night, they brought blankets to the tower and camped there, too captivated to leave. The hum beneath the floor never stopped, low and constant, like the purr of an enormous cat. Sam sat reading by lanternlight, while Noah slept beside him. He found another journal entry written years after the first. "They're coming for what I took. I was supposed to build weapons of weather, not salvation. I refused, so I bury the truth here. The mountain remembers. It will keep my secrets safe until someone worthy listens." Sam closed the book. His grandfather hadn't been crazy, he'd been running. Outside, the wind picked up. Snow lashed against the tower, whistling through cracks in the glass. Sam looked up, half expecting to see a figure among the shadows. Instead, he saw faint blue lights flickering along the mountain ridge, like lanterns moving in a line. "What is that?" he whispered. Then, faintly, a rumble echoed from below, the unmistakable growl of an engine. He rushed to the window. 2 vehicles were crawling up the narrow trail that led to the castle. "Noah," he said sharply, shaking the boy awake. "Pack your things. We've got company." By the time they reached the main hall, headlights had already cut through the fog outside. Sam's pulse quickened. No one had followed them here. No one could have known. A knock thundered through the door, followed by a smooth, practiced voice. "Mr. Harlan, I represent Aurelius Industries. We'd like to discuss the property you've inherited." Sam froze. The name, it was the same one from his grandfather's notes. "What do we do?" Noah whispered. Sam grabbed his arm. "We stay quiet." But another knock came, harder this time. "Mr. Harlan," the voice repeated. "We know you're there. Let's not make this unpleasant." The door handle rattled. Sam looked around the room for something, anything, to use as a weapon. His eyes landed on the iron poker by the fireplace. He gripped it tight, his heart hammering. A moment later, the heavy door swung open. A tall man stepped inside, dressed in a dark coat dusted with snow, followed by 2 others. His smile was polite, but his eyes were cold. "Good evening," he said. "You must be Samuel Harlan." Sam didn't answer. "My name is Mr. Crane," the man continued. "We're here for a matter of inheritance, something your grandfather neglected to return." Crane's gaze roamed the room, taking in the portraits and stone arches. "Impressive, isn't it? Your grandfather was a visionary, though somewhat stubborn." He stepped closer, his boots echoing on the stone floor. "He took something from us, something that doesn't belong to your family. I believe you've already found it." Sam tightened his grip on the poker. "You've got the wrong man," he said. Crane's smile never wavered. "Don't insult both of us. I know the tower's open. You woke it, didn't you?" His eyes gleamed with something between greed and fear. "Elias warned us this might happen." Behind Sam, Noah clutched his sleeve. "Dad," he whispered. The hums louder. Sam realized he was right. The low vibration had grown, resonating through the floor like distant thunder. Crane noticed it too. His confident expression faltered for the first time. "What is that?" he asked. "The mountain," Sam said quietly. "It remembers." Crane's jaw tightened. "Then you'd better pray it forgets." He gestured to his men. "Search the tower." Sam swung the poker hard, striking the first man across the chest. The second lunged, but the floor shuddered violently beneath them. Dust rained from the ceiling. The mountain was waking. The sound that followed was like a heartbeat breaking open. Walls groaned, glass shattered in the tower above, and the chandeliers swayed as if caught in invisible wind. Crane's men stumbled, shouting over the noise. "What's happening?" one yelled. Crane's composure cracked. "Get out!" he barked. Sam grabbed Noah, and pulled him toward the staircase. Behind them, the portraits on the wall seemed to flicker in the firelight, the painted faces alive with light, their eyes following the intruders. As Sam and Noah ran up the stairs, the heavy doors slammed shut on their own, trapping Crane's men inside. They reached the tower breathless. The hum had become a roar, deep and resonant, like the mountain itself was speaking. The telescope's lens glowed faintly blue, casting ripples of light across the walls. Noah clung to Sam's arm. "Dad," he whispered, "it's trying to help us." Sam didn't know how, but he felt it too. The castle wasn't just stone, it was reacting, protecting. He flipped open his grandfather's journal again. Near the back was a passage scrawled in haste. "If the tower sings, follow the sound. The truth lies where the storm begins." Sam looked up. "We need to go higher." They climbed the narrow ladder that led to the observatory platform. The storm outside was furious now. Snow whipping sideways, lightning flashing through clouds below them. The telescope shuddered, its metal frame vibrating with each pulse of blue light. Sam reached for the radio panel. "If this place can transmit," he muttered, turning the dials. Static filled the air, then a faint voice, his grandfather's, recorded decades ago. "If you hear this, the secret must be told. The mountain keeps what man was never meant to own. Send the signal and let the truth breathe." "Dad," Noah said. "It's him." Sam's throat tightened. "He built this to send a message," he whispered. The radio hummed, awaiting input. Below he heard Crane shouting, boots pounding up the stairs. There was no time to think. "Noah," he said, "remember that switch we found by the telescope?" The boy nodded. "Flip it when I tell you." He turned the dials until the light on the panel glowed steady blue. "Now!" Noah pulled the switch. Instantly, the tower filled with blinding light. Energy surged through the walls, racing down into the mountain itself. Outside, the storm answered a roar of wind, thunder, and something alive. Crane burst through the door, eyes wild. "Turn it off!" he shouted. "You don't know what you're doing!" Sam stood his ground. "You've spent your life hiding truth. Maybe it's time someone set it free." The man raised his pistol, but before he could fire, the floor cracked open with a deafening boom. A beam of light shot upward from the center of the tower, piercing the clouds. The mountain shook. Crane stumbled backward, his gun falling from his hand. "You fool!" he screamed. "You'll destroy everything." "Maybe that's what it takes," Sam said, pulling Noah close. To start over, the wind howled like a living thing, pulling at their clothes, tearing through the shattered dome above. The beam of light expanded, filling the sky with a radiance so bright it turned the snow to gold. Crane's men fled down the stairs, shouting in terror. The man himself tried to follow, but the door slammed shut behind him, trapping him inside. His eyes met Sam's for a single moment, filled not with anger, but awe. Then the floor beneath him gave way, and he was gone, swallowed by the light. The tower quieted, the hum easing into a slow, peaceful rhythm. Silence fell. Snow drifted gently through the broken dome, landing on Noah's shoulders. Sam exhaled shakily, his arms still around his son. "It's over," he murmured. The radio emitted one last whisper, his grandfather's voice, soft and kind. "The mountain remembers, Samuel. Thank you for listening." Then the light faded completely, leaving only the fire's glow from below. For the first time since they'd arrived, the air felt warm not from heat, but from something deeper, like forgiveness. Sam looked out across the peaks. The storm was gone. The clouds had parted, revealing a horizon painted in pale gold. They descended the tower slowly, their legs trembling with exhaustion. The main hall was a ruin of dust and fallen beams, but the portraits still hung untouched, their eyes calm. The intruders' cars were gone, vanished into the mist. "Do you think they'll come back?" Noah asked. Sam shook his head. "No," he said softly. "The mountain won't let them." They stood before the fireplace, where the ashes still glowed faintly blue. "Grandpa said it remembers," Noah murmured. Sam placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then maybe it remembers kindness, too." The boy smiled, and for the first time, so did Sam. As dawn rose over the Iron Cliff Mountains, the castle stood quiet again, its windows glowing in the morning light. Sam and Noah stepped outside, the snow crunching under their boots. Below them stretched a world reborn clean, silent, endless. Sam looked up at the towers, now gleaming faintly in the sunday. "We'll stay here for a while," he said. "Fix what's broken. Learn what it wants to tell us." Noah nodded. "It's our home now, right?" Sam looked down at him, his eyes tired, but full of peace. "Yeah, kid," he said. "It finally is." The mountain hummed once more, content. The morning after, the storm felt unreal, as if the mountain had exhaled and fallen back into sleep. Thin mist coiled around the castle's towers, soft as breath. Sam stood on the terrace, a mug of coffee warming his hands, watching sunlight filter through clouds below their feet. For the first time in years, the world seemed still. Noah's laughter echoed faintly from inside as he tried to coax warmth from the ancient fireplace. Sam closed his eyes. For once, peace didn't feel like something fragile he might break. It felt earned, as though the mountain itself approved of their staying. Over the following days, they cleaned, repaired, and slowly reclaimed the castle room by room. Broken furniture became firewood. Fallen curtains turned into makeshift blankets. The hum beneath the stone had softened to a slow, steady rhythm, no longer warning, but comfort. Every evening, Sam would find Noah in the tower, sketching the stars through the shattered dome. "He's up there somewhere," the boy said one night, pointing at the brightest star. "Grandpa, I think he's still listening." Sam smiled. "Maybe he is, kid." But even as he said it, a quiet unease grew in his chest. The mountain wasn't done speaking. One afternoon, while exploring the lower floors, Sam found a corridor he hadn't noticed before. It slanted downward, carved directly into the mountain, the air colder and heavier the farther he walked. The walls were etched with faint symbols, worn smooth by time. At the end stood a steel door almost identical to the one in the tower, same emblem of clouds and a single arrow. Only this time, the arrow pointed down. Noah followed close behind, flashlight trembling in his hand. "Dad, do you think it's safe?" Sam ran his fingers along the seams. "I don't know," he said, "but it's waiting." The key that had opened the tower fit perfectly into the lock. The metal shifted with a low groan, and the door swung inward, releasing a rush of air so cold it stole their breath. A staircase spiraled into darkness. Faint blue lights glimmered along the walls, like veins beneath the skin of the mountain. Sam lifted the lantern, hard thudding. "We stay close," he said. Noah nodded. The deeper they descended, the louder the hum became, no longer a whisper but a voice, steady and vast, as though the earth itself were remembering its own heartbeat. "Dad," Noah whispered, "it's alive." They reached the bottom, and stepped into a vast cavern hollowed straight out of the rock. The air shimmered faintly, thick with electricity. In the center stood a massive structure, half machine, half altar, its gears frozen under decades of dust. Around it, glass tubes lined the walls, filled with something that looked like fog trapped in liquid. Sam felt a chill crawl up his spine. On the base of the machine was a small plaque, tarnished but readable. Aurelius Engine 1954. His grandfather's name was etched beneath it. He didn't just hide something, Sam murmured. He built this. The realization hit hard. The Aurelius Project wasn't just a myth or a secret file. It was real, and it was buried under their feet. Sam found a control panel covered in switches and levers, many corroded but still intact. Beside it lay another notebook, its pages brittle but legible. They wanted to control the weather. I made something that listens instead. It hears the pain of the earth and answers with mercy, not destruction. But they called it a weapon. When they came for it, I sealed it here. If you are reading this, you carry my blood. The engine will know you. Sam closed the book, hands trembling. He didn't make a weapon, he said softly. He made something to heal. Noah looked up at him. Like the mountain healed us? Sam nodded. Exactly. The boy walked toward the machine, his small hand hovering near the panel. The faint blue light flickered, responding to his presence. Dad, he whispered, it knows us. Before Sam could stop him, Noah pressed his palm against a cold metal. The lights along the walls brightened instantly, racing upward like veins igniting. The hum rose into a symphony of sound, deep, powerful, and impossibly alive. The entire cavern began to vibrate. Dust rained from the ceiling, and the tubes along the walls pulsed with light, filling with images, clouds forming, rivers swelling, mountains breathing mist. It was as if the machine was showing them the heartbeat of the planet. Noah stood transfixed, his face bathed in blue glow. Dad, it's beautiful, he murmured. Sam pulled him gently back. Easy, kid. Don't touch anything else. But the machine wasn't threatening. It was singing. The air grew warm, the vibrations settling into rhythm with their own heartbeats. Then, slowly, a voice emerged from the hum, calm, old, and familiar. Samuel. Sam froze. The voice wasn't coming from the machine, it was inside his mind, like a memory replayed too loud. If you found this, then the mountain chose you. What I built can't be destroyed, only inherited. Protect it, or it will sleep forever. It was Elias Harlan, his grandfather's voice, steady as the hum beneath their feet. Grandpa? Noah whispered, hearing it too. The voice softened. You have what I didn't the courage to listen. The mountain remembers you now. Don't let them turn it into noise again. Then the light dimmed, and silence returned heavy, sacred, absolute. For a long moment, neither spoke. Only the drip of melting frost echoed through the cavern. Then Noah said, Dad, he talked to us. Sam knelt beside him, gripping his shoulders. Yeah, he said softly. He did. The boy's eyes glistened. So, what do we do now? Sam looked up at the glowing machine, at the faint steam rising from its gears. We keep it safe, he said. That's what he wanted. He glanced around. And maybe we find a way to make it help again. The idea felt impossible. But so had everything else that brought them here. They spent the next days exploring every inch of the hidden chamber. Most of the mechanisms were corroded, but a few still worked. Sam cleaned and oiled the gears, while Noah drew diagrams of what he called the mountain's heart. They discovered an elevator shaft leading directly to the tower above, connecting both halves of the structure. It was a complete system designed to listen, to translate the Earth's rhythms into something humans could understand. At night, they slept in the library, the sound of wind passing through the halls like gentle breathing. The mountain was resting again, but aware. One evening, while Sam was repairing a broken gear, a faint sound echoed through the corridor, a metallic clatter. He turned quickly. A shadow flickered against the wall. His pulse spiked. "Noah?" he called. The boy appeared from the other side of the room. "What?" "Stay close," Sam said. He lifted the lantern. Another sound, footsteps, deliberate, slow. From the darkness emerged a familiar figure. Frank Miller, the old man from the valley, his coat dusted with snow. "You shouldn't be down here," he said, his voice low. "This place remembers everything good and bad." Sam's relief turned to confusion. "You knew?" Frank nodded, eyes heavy with secrets. "Your grandfather trusted me. I helped him seal it." He stepped closer, his face drawn but calm. "He built it to give back what men took. The company that wanted it. Aurelius, they're still out there, son. You may have scared them off, but they'll come again." Sam's stomach tightened. "Then we'll be ready." Frank's gaze softened. "You can't fight a ghost with fists, Samuel. You fight it by telling its story." He looked at the engine, the soft blue light reflecting in his eyes. "Let the world hear what the mountain's been trying to say." That night, Sam sat by the transmitter in the tower, reading through the old journals. Each page told a fragment of the truth, how Aurelius had tried to weaponize nature itself, how Elias Harlan had rebelled and hidden the proof. Sam realized the mountain wasn't just a refuge. It was a message buried in stone. He wanted someone to finish what he started, he whispered. Noah looked up from his sketchbook. "Then we will." Sam smiled faintly. "Yeah, kid, we will." Outside, wind swept through the peaks, carrying a sound that wasn't quite thunder, a heartbeat deep and patient, alive again. The next morning, they powered the transmitter. The old radio sputtered, lights flickering uncertainly. But when Sam adjusted the dial, a clear tone filled the room, steady, pulsing, like the hum from below. He pressed the microphone button. "This is Samuel Harlan," he said, voice trembling slightly. "If anyone can hear me, this mountain holds the truth of Project Aurelius. My grandfather died protecting it. I won't let it be forgotten," Static hissed. Then, faintly, another voice crackled through distant but real. "Copy that, Rich Hollow. We hear you." Sam stared at the radio, stunned. After all these years, someone was listening. Days turned into weeks. Reporters tried to reach them, but the mountain's narrow path remained too treacherous. Instead, messages came through the radio. Scientists, historians, even families of those lost to the old experiments. Each voice carried gratitude and disbelief. "He did it," Sam murmured one night, staring out over the mist. "He really made them listen." Noah sat beside him, legs dangling over the ledge. "So, are we famous now?" Sam laughed softly. "Maybe not famous, just heard." The boy smiled. "That's better." Behind them, the castle lights flickered gently, as if nodding in quiet agreement. Spring arrived late in the mountains. Snow melted into rivulets that sang through the valleys, and wildflowers burst between the cracks in the stone. The castle seemed to awaken with the season, vines curling up its towers, sunlight filling its long-forgotten halls. Sam repaired the roof, while Noah tended a small garden on the terrace. Each night, they ate together by the fire and talked about what they would build next. The mountain, once a place of silence, now echoed with laughter and the scrape of tools. "It's alive again," Noah said. Sam nodded. "So are we." One evening, as dusk deepened, Sam found a new note slipped beneath the door. The handwriting was careful, old-fashioned. "The truth has reached the valley. The world is listening. Keep the engine safe." Sam smiled faintly. Frank had gone back down the trail, carrying their story with him. The mountain was no longer a secret. It had become a witness. Sam walked out to the balcony, the air cool and sweet. Far below, he could see the faint glow of towns flickering to life. He wondered if any of them could feel the heartbeat beneath their feet. That night, as Noah slept, Sam returned to the underground chamber one last time. The engine's lights glowed softly, steady as a pulse. "You kept us alive," he said quietly, "and we'll keep you safe." He laid his hand on the cold metal. For a moment, the hum grew louder, wrapping around him like an embrace. Then, faintly, he heard it again, his grandfather's voice. "Thank you, Samuel. The mountain remembers kindness." Sam exhaled, eyes stinging. "Yeah," he whispered. "So do I." When he turned to leave, the blue light dimmed, settling into a rhythm that matched the beating of his heart. At dawn, mist rolled through Ridge Hollow, soft and silver. The castle stood whole again, its stones glistening with dew. Sam brewed coffee, while Noah sat beside him, sketching the sunrise. "What should we call it?" the boy asked, pencil scratching lightly. "The castle?" Sam thought for a moment, then smiled. "The Harlan Heart," he said. "Because it listens," Noah grinned. "Just like us." They sat in silence, watching the sun rise above the clouds. Far below, the world stirred awake. Up here, in the house of stone and memory, a father and son finally belonged, and the mountain remembered.